Carlsbad, People, Purpose, and Impact, an essential podcast for those who live, work, visit, and play in Carlsbad.
Good afternoon and welcome, everyone. My name is Brett Schanzenbach. I'm the president and CEO of the Carlsbad Chamber of Commerce, and I'm excited to have with me today Justin Jachura. Justin is on my board of directors, and he is the co-founder and co-owner of Senor Grubby's. Good afternoon, Justin.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Excited to be here.
Yeah, man. Great to have you here. I know we tried to do this a while back, and the schedules didn't allow, so I'm excited we finally made it happen.
Yeah.
So you're a local. Let's
Yes.
just start with that. I mean, you're a local. You grew up here. You're a Lancer.
Yep. Buena Vista Elementary, then Valley. I hate to say junior high. It was a junior high. It wasn't a middle school back then.
Sure.
So Valley Junior High to Carlsbad High School. I went to a couple different schools in high school. I may have been asked not to return, and then ended up back at Carlsbad High School. I wasn't always,
An upright student.
an upright student, maybe a bit of a class clown, and it wasn't always favorable or worked in my favor, I should say.
But here you are now, I would say an extreme success story for Carlsbad, and which is amazing. So that's awesome. You guys, let's see. This is what I researched. It said Senor Grubbys was started in 2008 by a group of local boys looking to put a twist on the local Mexican fare.
That's exactly right.
Tell us that story. What went into all that?
Just to go, I gotta give you a little history.
Yeah.
Go a little further back. In 2005, we started with Los Tacos.
Okay.
And the thing is everyone crosses the border, gets their street tacos, and you go down there for other things. There's the clubs. There's
Sure.
18. You can go have a drink, and so you have that experience of going down there, surf trips, and everything else. And you'd see these street taco vendors down there, and they had this certain, flavor of food and things. And then it's pretty much as soon as you cross the border on the other side, it's like gone.
Yeah.
That's why they call them TJ tacos and stuff like that, because they're little street tacos, and nobody was really doing it, at least not to my knowledge, being a gringo, you know what I mean? It wasn't really to my knowledge, although I went down to Mexico all the time. So we're like, man, no one really has these tacos, and we sought it out. We sought out to do that with Los Tacos. We're talking Senor Grubby, so that was 2005. And then 2007, we started Grubby's Diner in Oceanside. Some people know about it, some people didn't. We had, after about almost our fifth year, we had a really bad falling out with the landlord. The property was old, it was decaying. We were constantly repairing it, constantly fixing it. We had what's called a ground up lease. So you're responsible for the whole thing. It's a standalone building. Electrical problems, all kinds. So the final straw was some of the drainage was out. We went to him and said, hey, look, we want to close for we want to do some plans. We want to close for a couple months, you know what I'm saying? And would you basically not charge us rent when we're willing to put money into the building,
Right.
To bring it up to code, to get it, and improve it too. The look and
course.
cosmetics obviously are involved in that. And he just wouldn't go either way.
Wow.
It was really,
Wouldn't work with you at all.
slumlord is in a commercial sense,
Yeah.
And so we walked away. But during that time, before we closed, Mariah's, and now we're talking Senor Grubby's, Mariah's was available. And one of my our waitresses, because that was the only full service restaurant we ever had, was the Grubby's Diner Cafe style. She was like, hey, you heard Mariah's closed. It's up for rent. There's rent signs. And I'm like, yeah, right. Because I grew up on Mariah's. I mean, I'm a Carlsbad kid, and Mike Siddon, his family owned it. He was a couple years younger than me. So in high school, it was like the high school go-to spot.
Yeah.
It was the Saturday morning spot after Friday night for all the friends. And we'd go there and eat breakfast. And I didn't believe it closed. I was like, no way. So I went by, and sure enough, it had closed.
Wow.
And I was like, I went back and told my partners, like, dude, we got to get this. This is like legendary.
Yeah.
30-year run, 78 to 2008, 30-year run.
Wow.
My whole life in Carlsbad, I remember it being there. And I was like, it's got to stay local. And that's a lot of things like, if you ever hear me talking around, like when I hear about places closing, I'm like, man, we got to keep it local.
Right.
I try to call friends whenever a place closes. I call friends that are in that industry or whatever it is and say, hey, let's keep it local, as much as we can. In a nutshell, that's how we got into Senor Grubby's.
Where you're at now.
Where we're at now. And the name came from the reason I said the name came from Los Tacos Senor, the Mexican side, the food. We changed a few things, and expanded our Mexican menu. And then on the breakfast side, because we do breakfast, we simplified that's the part we simplified, the breakfast menu, and it became Senor Grubby's.
Nice.
So sorry, that was maybe a long explanation.
No, that's great. No, this is storytelling time, man. I love it. I have not tried breakfast there. I'm gonna have to do that.
It's bomb. We have we do some like fusions and stuff. It's really good.
Okay, really cool. So great. And now, so you have like what I think of as the signature Senor Grubby's right there in the village, but you also have a Senor Grubby's in Oceanside, I believe. And then you have the Grubby's Poke and Fish Market over at the shops and Los Tacos in Oceanside.
Yes.
So you got the 4 restaurants that are all doing well. And yeah, what's next on that list? I mean, that's a great list right there.
The list actually on Los Tacos, there are 4.
4 Los Tacos. Oh.
There's 2 now on Oceanside, because we have the original, which is off of Jefferson in the Best Buy Walmart shopping center. That's the original 2005 first restaurant as a group, all hands on, tore the place apart ourselves, built the place by hand ourselves, built it from the ground up, and I can't believe how much we built it for. You can't even flip a restaurant for the price we built that thing completely out for. And I come from a construction background, so that helps us. And then we opened Temecula was our second. So we've had one in Temecula.
Awesome.
So 2008, we actually opened Senor Grubby's and our Temecula Los Tacos 6 weeks apart. It was bananas.
Wow.
2 places under construction, trained 2 staffs. It was wild. And most of the staff for Temecula and Senor Grubby's were being trained in our original Los Tacos locations. So it basically went from like 1 to 3, and that was fun though. I mean, it is fun though.
Yeah.
And then we opened up off of Marin Road. Right here, it's Marin Road address, but the other side of the street's Carlsbad. Our side of the street's Oceanside.
Okay.
For Los Tacos, there in the it's also there's a Walmart there. Chick-fil-A. Most people are familiar with Chick-fil-A is right off of College in Marin.
Yep.
Marin turns into Lake.
I did not know you had a Los Tacos down there.
Yep. There's a Los Tacos there too. That was 2017. And those are the 3. There's a 4th one I personally am not involved in. That's a long story. And Encinitas, one of my partners opened that one up. Encinitas Boulevard, just behind the Ford dealership there. So there's 4. I'm involved in 3. So technically 6 restaurants, really.
Wow, congrats. That's fantastic. And they're all doing well?
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, all those restaurants were opened when our least favorite topic hit, when COVID hit. And so that was so confusing and challenging for all businesses, but restaurants, I mean, that was, got to be closed, then you can be open, and then it's takeout, and then it's patio, and then it's not patio, and then, oh my goodness, that was insane.
Yeah, it's a roller coaster.
Yeah, and I know you guys were navigating it as best you could. And I remember you and I having a discussion back then. It wasn't just about, for you guys, trying to be open for like business, like to make money, but you felt the responsibility to your staff, your employees that, that rely on that income to pay their bills. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. There was a lot of mud being thrown back then at restaurants, and people that wanted to stay open, being called selfish, all kinds of crazy things. I mean, there's some comments made in city council meetings that were kind of gnarly, but when we initially heard it, it progressed, obviously.
Yeah. When
we first heard it, we're like, okay, we're going to stay open. Nobody really knew that there was going to be such an immense amount of money to stay home.
Right.
And we take care of a lot of families, right? Both, you can look at it at both sides of the plate, right? So from us as employers, we have our employees that we feed, and they count on us daily.
Yep.
And then as time progressed, the restaurants were closing. We like, man, there's some people that probably won't really eat much unless we stay open.
Yeah.
People probably like myself that we're still working. They're not used to cooking their own meals. Microwave dinners. Are selling out of the grocery stores. So like, cool, we could do a service to the community and still keep our staff employed, because they have bills, they have children. Then there's work on the schedules when schools weren't allowed no more. Then there's those schedules you had to deal with. So it was pretty intense. But the main goal was, when we first decided not to close, was staff.
Yeah.
Was staff, make sure we're still keeping our staff employed. We're, basically like, hey, we're gonna take it a month by month, And at the end of the month, do our P&Ls, we profitable, we lose the money. If we are losing money, is it an affordable amount that we can stretch over a couple months?
Sure.
Everyone thought it was 2 weeks. If you guys remember all the
flatten the curve.
Yeah, flatten the curve.
Whatever.
It was drama. I call it all drama. I that's the word I use now, drama, because there was other issues in and out during that time with quote unquote, we'll just use the word riots.
Yes.
There was a lot of riots and stuff like that where we boarded up at one point because there was going to be a march and stuff in different downtown Carlsbad at one point, in downtown Oceanside, and we did partially board up.
Sure.
So we were ready if it did turn ugly, that we actually put we put pre-fastening bolts and stuff on there. So, and we cut the holes in our wood, and we had wood laid aside kind of out of public eye, where we partially closed up. But if it did happen, within 5 minutes, basically 10 minutes, we could be completely boarded up.
Wow.
Which
that must have been from your construction background, knowing how to prepare for that.
Yes, I called in favors. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Big time. And then we had our whole front done, and we actually wrapped it with our logo, and then we put in loving memory of, and some people that had lost their lives, and we kind of made a little bit of a contribute. You know what I mean? And our part to our community too. But we were ready.
Yeah.
If it happened, we were definitely ready. That's why I use the word drama, because there's even more situations like that throughout that 2-year span that were kind of a roller coaster. But yeah, we never closed. We caught some heat for that. The only restaurant we closed during that time was the fish market, poke fish market at the mall, because the mall closed, and obviously our sales just flatlined.
Right.
So then we closed. But the whole idea was to stay open, and the first initial reason was to keep our employees employed.
Yep.
So.
Yep. All right, we're going to take a quick pause right here. We've been talking with Justin Jachura, the co-founder and co-owner of Senor Grubby's and various sundry other restaurants. And we'll be right back. We're going to talk about some of their innovations and other things that they're involved in. So stay tuned. We'll be back in just a moment. So Justin, during the COVID thing, one of the things that you guys to your credit, had to innovate and took advantage of is as things were like, okay, takeouts allowed, and then kind of maybe surprisingly at first, they were like, oh yeah, you can sell cocktails to go.
Yeah.
And
so,
that
was rad.
Right? And so then you guys are like, opportunities to talk about that.
Mm-hmm. One of my reps, Jacob Holland, which by the way, first job, Dairy Queen, Oceanside, rad job. He became a liquor rep. And so he hit me up. I remember I was driving back one night from church, and I got this call. I'm like, why is he calling me this late at night? And he's like, did you hear what happened? I'm trying to make sure everyone knows. I'm like, what do you mean what happened? He's all, they just allowed cocktails to go. And I was like, what? We can make a cocktail and I can sell it to go? He's like, exactly.
You're like, margaritas?
Yeah. I was like, you gotta be kidding me, dude. This is whatever the word
game
I'm looking
changing.
for. Game changer. That's the word I'm looking for. So at that time, we had our poke, the fish market, and we did, and actually I think that at that time is when we were closed.
Okay.
And we do milk teas there.
Yep.
So the code was you had to have, the container had to be sealable, and then we had to post this information. You had to put it in your trunk. You can't drink it. You can't, has to be consumed properly, not on site. All these you got to post these rules.
Sure.
So I was like, well, our poke containers are pretty much contained. I go, I'd have to put. And I asked about a sticker, and I said it just says concealed. It doesn't say sticker, because I was thinking like what's concealed.
Yeah. What's the definition?
What's the definition?
That's not going to get you in trouble.
So my idea was to put a sticker over the top where the straw thing was, so it made it so you couldn't just put a straw in it immediately. I mean, you could, it's paper, right? And then start selling to goes. So that night I went into the poke restaurant, grabbed all the 16-ounce size things, cups and lids. I called up my design. I sat at home and designed the sticker for the top, because sometimes you have to learn everything in the business. So
right.
I learned art, so I learned Illustrator and Photoshop.
Yep.
So I made the stickers on the top, one for margarita, one for a beer, one for other cocktail, and I even had them colored. Pink was I think cocktails. Green was a margarita, and white was beers.
Nice. And
I had them all done, so would identify. And by the end of the next day, I had everything in play, and we were selling to-go cocktails. We were the first on the block to do it, because I just came hard and fast.
Right.
And then it became our little pickup window, like Dairy Queen out the front. And next thing you know, hey, you want, and it became a joke. You want ice in it? I know you're drinking this at home, but I can put ice in this for you. And then when you get home, it's nice and cold and ready to go. And, if you do open this thing up anywhere else, it's not, that's not my problem.
It's not on me.
It's not on me, but these are the rules. And the rules are posted right here. And I go, you need a straw. Because, you may want to drink this out of a straw when you get home.
When you get home.
And they're like, yeah, straw. So next thing you know, man, confess your sins, but I know people for sure were getting them in 4-packs, 4 margaritas. And we're making 2 for 1s too, by the way. So we were making doubles in these things because, and then you add ice, you got like 2 margaritas in one glass. So we'd add the ice, I hand it to them, here's a thing of straws and little, 4 packs to go. And people were come back like 15 minutes later. Let's get another one. Let's get another one. Here you go. You're drinking this at home, right? Here's the straw.
How did you get home and back so fast?
Yeah.
I don't want to know.
So it became a real thing. And it was a blessing for us.
Yeah. Well, and obviously when normal lines of business are being squelched, finding alternative ones, especially, those probably have high margin if we're honest. So that's fantastic. And that ability to pivot in that situation, that was, everybody's sick of that word from COVID, but it's true. You pivoted in that situation, came up with a great innovation. And I think you guys ended up being like our 2021 Innovators of the Year because of that, which was super cool.
Which was rad.
Yeah, it was very cool. So let's get away from that COVID time now and just kind of come up. Yeah, thankfully. Let's just talk about some of the other great stuff that involves you guys. So first of all, even if people are familiar with your restaurants, they might not be familiar with how much you guys cater. And you guys do a lot. You have a lot available. Talk about catering.
I actually love catering. It's sometimes a blessing and a curse because we're actually about to renovate our kitchen a little bit to take on the onslaught of catering because it's becoming even more popular.
Awesome.
When you're in the middle of a Saturday rush and you got a 150-person party that you're catering in the middle of your rush and you're trying to prepare your catering plus cater to a line out the door.
Yeah, your customers in the place and catering.
Yeah, literally 2 Saturdays ago, we told people no food orders for 20 minutes.
Wow.
We had to literally stop food orders for 20 minutes just to prepare catering orders out. But we've been doing catering since day one. We've done all the Taco Fest, Tacotopia. We're not participating this year. Unfortunately, it changed the way they're charging the restaurants, and I just felt like it was kind of a stand. People don't realize how much I'm for the customer and for the experience, and they made it to kind of where it's going to be an expensive venue now for people to go to, and I just really didn't want to participate this year. I love what they do, and it is a great time. But we do all the big events because it's not just catering. It's what's the word I'm looking for? Events, vending. Vending. Okay, that's the word I was looking for. So we vend a lot too.
Sure.
Like at all these big events, we do like all the radio stations, concerts. So we do concerts in the parks type stuff. We're always there vending. It's a big part of our business, and we love it. And we do cocktail catering too. Just an FYI, little plug. You're looking for a Friday happy hour, we'll show up.
Nice.
And make cocktails for you. And I love that part of the business.
Yeah, and I know from our discussions with having you guys so engaged with us. I know you're doing corporate catering, you're doing weddings, you're doing family gatherings, you're doing all kinds of stuff.
Yep. And a shout out to Natalie.
Yes. She's
been with us almost 12 years. I always joke around, call her a traitor. She left us for a couple of years. I'm like, once in a while pull the traitor comment out. But yeah, she's basically been with us for about 12 years, and she's the head of catering now and events, and she's amazing. She also helps with my emails and stuff too. So she's a real blessing. But yeah, she crushes it, man. And we're definitely building it. Weddings are fun.
Yeah.
I like weddings. Who doesn't love a good wedding? You know what I mean?
Well, in Southern California, Mexican food at any kind of those gatherings is like, let's go.
And I remember like I said, we started in 2005 with those tacos. I remember we started doing weddings. I'm like, because I come, like as a younger man, you think it's more formal. You're thinking like they have the whole plate, the steaks, and then the whole, like you just said, California themed wedding. Right. People in flip flops, button up Hawaiian shirts, and we're serving up tacos. And we do, I'd say about a third of our catering is weddings.
Nice,
surprisingly, and it's a fun time. Tacos make it fun.
Very cool. You mentioned that you're doing some remodeling on your kitchen at Senor Grubby's, but I think you were sharing with me you guys are going to blow out your back patio a bit too.
Yeah, we got to submit our plans. We're trying to do it over the counter because technically it's just like a
expansion.
It's a change. There's not really anything
structural,
or our loads aren't changing, like our water loads and our electrical loads. None of those things are changing, or our consumption or whatever isn't changing. So we're trying to do it over the counter. And it was just submitted yesterday. So
fingers crossed.
Yeah, we're hoping it's within 30 days or less so we can flip it. So probably about a 1 month thing just to flip it. But yeah, we started because we're putting in booths. We're trying to elevate the experience a little bit because obviously, with the cost of goods and everything, inflation, our prices have gone up. We have actually finally this year hit a $20 burrito on the menu. I can't believe that.
Oh,
we started, burritos were like $5.75.
Sure.
And like a shrimp burrito was like $7. That same burrito now is almost with the shrimp alone one is like $19.
Wow.
It's insane.
Unbelievable.
So, we're like, well, how can we also elevate the experience? And you're coming in, you're paying $20 for a burrito. Let's try to elevate the experience. We're putting booths in and changing the lighting a little bit and trying to, elevate the overall experience.
Some outgrowths from COVID weren't all bad, right? Like there was a lot of expansion of outdoor dining in general, and I think you guys, your patio expanded as well because of that, and that's still there, right? So your expanded outdoor dining is in place,
right? And that's what triggered basically where we're going with the remodel.
Got it.
Is because for those in the restaurant industry, they understand the term well. We only have one well in the back, which one little area to make cocktails, and it was small, it was petite. It was a little petite patio in the back. Cute is the word, low roof. It really feels like intimate, small little patio in the back. And that's what it was built for. And we have our front bar too. And it was supposed to be kind of just help compensate and provide a new space for people to enjoy themselves.
Yeah.
COVID hit. We added like a 40 or 50 more seats on the back patio. Now that back patio is just getting slammed and it can't keep up. So, you get those 1-star reviews. Service was good. Food was amazing. The drinks were great, but we had to wait 30 minutes for a drink, 1 star. And you're like, oh, come on, man, that's a 4-star, right?
Yeah.
Knock 1 star down for one bad part of it.
Exactly.
But it's definitely a demand for it now. So that's what's triggering the whole back remodel. We're adding 2 wells, larger wells. We're adding a dishwasher behind the counter of the bar so they don't have to run around the kitchen to get their dishes washed. And it's going to be a faster serving situation and a lot better of an experience too, because we're covering it up more. We're going to heat it more. So, because people want to eat outside more, like you just said. Yeah. It's a real thing. So that's why we're opening the space up more, making it more breathable and more welcoming and serve people faster.
Well, and with the weather we have, I mean, it's like you have year-round good weather, obviously this year a little bit rainier than we're used to, but in general, doesn't matter. There is winter, spring, summer, fall. You can have good outdoor weather almost any day of the year. So that's great. I know we've been talking a lot about your Senor Grubby's down in the village downtown, but I know I've told you, my wife and I love your pokey. Oh yeah, your pokey place over there by the shops at Carlsbad, the old mall. Oh, I love that. And I hadn't really delved into pokey before, and I tried it at your place, and my wife and I. Well, I mean, the health aspect, the flavors, the everything, we've fallen in love with it. So we're like, it's like we're going out. We're like, let's go over to the pokey. Yeah. We love it, man. It's so good.
Yeah, it's my favorite place to eat, and we've done some changes at Senor Grubby's. We got a more vegan stuff, and we've made some changes. So I'm not saying for health purposes, but just to cater to more people and diversify, you have to be able to do that. But I've been eating that food, minus that part, for now 18 years, right? Because 2005, and we changed some things from those tacos at Senor Grubby's, but still I've been eating that Mexican fare for 18 years. So when I say Poke is my favorite place to eat, there are multiple reasons. I tried to convince my partners years ago to do sushi. I love sushi.
Right.
And I just tell people Poke is sushi in a bowl.
Right. And that's pretty fair, I think.
And at the third the cost. If you want to break it down, you've got like 3 or 4 rolls, probably a good 3 rolls in that. And rolls are, let's just even call them $10 a roll.
Sure.
Right? That's $30. We're paying, you're paying 15 to I think 19 right now a bowl, approximately 15 to 18 a bowl at our place. And it's phenomenal. We took the same approach. A lot of people don't realize with Senor Grubby's too, but we make all our sauces or salsas in-house. We just got our own ponzu recipe finally, that one we liked. So now even the ponzu sauce at Poke is our own house-made ponzu.
Nice.
So now every single sauce there, besides like sriracha,
right.
which is kind of obvious, but we make all our own sauces.
That's great.
We cut our fish fresh. A lot of people use frozen cubes. I won't mention names. I could mention names.
Sure.
People use frozen cubes. All they do is get the blocks of cubes, thaw them out, and they just basically dump it into a container and serve it to you. And it's somewhat acceptable, but we don't do that. We use top sirloin too for our carne asada in Carlsbad, or at our Los Tacos at all. It's top sirloin for our Mexican fare. So I mean, we buy good quality proteins. Even sometimes at a disadvantage to us as far as profitability.
Sure.
But we're just not going to put out a bad product.
Yeah.
So I love eating there.
Speaking about the good product you put out, I know we talked about the award that you guys won through the Carlsbad Chamber, but you've won a lot of awards.
Yeah.
You guys have won awards for all over the place. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, to be honest, sometimes, you get a little chip on your shoulder, right? I think everybody to an extent has a chip on their shoulder wanting to prove themselves.
Sure.
And at one point, I was, the Union Tribune, Coast News just did theirs, which we were nominated, and we've been invited to the award show, which typically means you may have won something. But there's all these different companies, San Diego Magazine, and our first award ever was 2015. We won Best Tacos, I think North County through Los Tacos from San Diego Magazine.
Yeah,
our stuff is legit. It's legit. We hired it to just quick, and I'll hop off it. We hired a taquero from Mexico City, a taquero from Oaxaca, and a butcher from here to teach us how to properly cut our own meats. That's how we started with Los Tacos.
Wow.
So it's legit. It's legit. But through these things, kept seeing like all these, North Park was the real hype. Like 10 years ago, North Park was like screaming.
Yeah.
All these restaurants were winning. And I started looking at all these awards. I'm like, no one's winning from North County. And I know we're good.
Yes.
I know our food's good. But the hype was, that was the fixie era. Everyone's in their fixies, the hipsters. And I might have been a little bit of a hipster myself. But I was like, no one's repping North County. I made it a mission to rep North County.
Nice.
And to really rep Carlsbad and our food, our food culture here. So we started entering these contests, telling our customers about it. Hey, vote for us.
Yep.
And the next thing you know, we started getting nominated a lot. We're still year in and year out, we're the most nominated restaurant on pretty much every platform.
Nice.
For us, winning the award sometimes is harder because we don't have that population density like a downtown, like a Little Italy or something. But we do win. We've won almost every year. We win something, but we are the most nominated restaurant in San Diego County, period.
That's great.
And it's an honor.
That's great. And I want to shift directions a little bit because another thing I really want the community to hear is how community oriented you guys are. You're very supportive in terms of like helping out with like fundraisers or gift certificates for nonprofits or whatever. Talk a little bit about community engagement and how important that is to you.
That's at the core of everything we do is community. If you're in business, I mean, a lot of people are in business to make money. We are in business to make money. That's
of course.
I'm not gonna lie about that. But it's like, what can we do? How can we make money and also service our community at the same time, hand in hand? Like it should be a service to the community. What you do in some part should serve your community also. And we kind of fell upon this on, not to say on accident, but we kind of noticed that we would do fundraisers, right? And we were back then, this is going back to like 2008, 2009, 2010, during the midst of the recession too.
Yes.
Mind you, we put every dime we had into Senor Grubby's Carlsbad, our last pennies. Like the front door was a home front door, like a house typical front door, with a like a 1 foot by 1 foot window in it, to see inside, and you couldn't see. And we're like, you know what? We need to put something in there. We need to go commercial. We spent like almost $4,000 on that front door for a big glass piece, and that literally was pretty much everything we had left. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And reserves and everything were gone. And then the recession hit. So we were paying for like buy one get ones, and there was all these different coupon magazines to try to get people to come in the door, and then we were doing fundraisers too sometimes, and we were kind of like, can we afford to do a fundraiser? And then we kind of just said, let's just do fundraisers. Who cares? We're going to give it back, whatever. We're going for it. And what we noticed is when we did the fundraisers, people would come out and then those people were returning like that next day, that weekend, and they're thankful and they were coming in. And I was like, man, this might be the way to go, not only because we want to help, but we're seeing a return on investment on the business side. Yeah. So it's like, why would we not switch? So basically after a while, we cut pretty much all their marketing out. Yep. Right? Because we're like, we can use this marketing budget to give back to the community. Yep. So that's what we did. And, we're very proud of it. It's called We Care Wednesdays. Every Wednesday, nearly at every restaurant from 6 to 8, 20% of proceeds get donated back. We've done everything from like your local boys and girls clubs to school clubs to local church clubs to sports teams, everything, including even, unfortunately, local families in need. Sure. Where they're experiencing, they need money. Yep. And we'll do a fundraiser for them. And a lot of times we don't always raise the most money, but one thing we do is we raise awareness. Yep. And that's one thing a lot of the charities say is like, hey, we've got some great volunteers from your fundraisers. And then also, like I said, there's been people that have unfortunately been passed on. Sure. And so we've done memorials for them and fundraisers for their services and whatnot. There's pretty much no need that we won't do. Besides, like, if it gets heavily political or something like that, then we don't want to get involved in that too much. But yeah. No, that's great. Another little kind of, I don't know, expression maybe is the best word, expression of your community support is the art wall at Senor Grubby's. Yeah. I mean, that's become, that's a landmark in Carlsbad because, it changes and first of all, it's highly visible because of where it's located, but then it changes. So it's always interesting to see what's next. Talk about how that came about and that whole story. It came out because we had just some palm trees on the side because there's trees on the other side of the property. We have absentee homeowners on both sides of Senor Grubby's, as many know that know the area. They're just abandoned homes. Yeah. And the one tree, actually, it was a major, now I'm blanking the kind of trees they are, not maple trees, those huge eucalyptus. Yeah, huge eucalyptus trees. And one branch snapped, went down and scraped the side of our building, right? And went down, and another one was hanging right over our building, which would hit all of our equipment on the roof. So I contacted the owner, and they're like, basically, they're not willing to do anything. If you want to cut it down, you cut it down on your own. So we did. We paid a good chunk of money to take down this tree that was essentially dead and falling and could hurt people. So we cut it down, but then all of a sudden there's this huge wall exposed. And now we're like, okay, what can we do here? Like, we got to do some art or something cool. And of course, Brian Snyder, local art hero, shout out Brian. I mean, that's my boy. We actually, we're doing a lot of stuff with the Carlsbad Village Association, which I sat on their board for many years in the village. I was like, man, let's do something cool with this. And I was trying to do a collab on that with him and a couple other local artists, like to do something cool. And then he ended up pitching the whole concept of the Carlsbad art wall with a rotating artist. And I was like, I love that, man. Yeah. I mean, I couldn't say no to that, obviously. Yeah. And so he took it on, and he facilitates the whole project. And shout out again, Brian Snyder at Snyder Art. Yeah, check him out. He's an amazing artist who became now an art teacher. He's living the dream of what he's passionate about his hometown. And he's passionate about art, and it rotates out. And we've had some cool ones. We had some ones I wasn't too stoked on. And the one that's out there right now, you should definitely check out because I think it's going to be gone. Carlsbad Street Fair. That weekend, we're going to have a new artist there redoing the wall during the street fair. Right. As a little attraction and some fun. Right. So you should check out the current artist now. Toledo. I think it was Toledo, his name. And it's a whole Spanish Mexican concept. It's possibly it's top 3 for me. Nice. Wow, so, that's huge. Yeah, so that's May 7th, people. If you don't know when the street fair is going to be and you want to be out there to watch it in action, being painted anew. So that's great. Downtown Carlsbad's done such a good job. There's so many murals down there now. So it's fun when an area gets known for that, I like to think we're an innovator of that. Yeah. I like to throw myself out there. You're in the mix. The other side, which people ask, we're ever going to change the other side, right? When you pull in our driveway, it's Carlsbad. It's cheesy. It's got a surfer on there. It says, best photo op stand here. Yeah. Like literally, it's the most cheesiest thing ever in the world. but it's become its own identity. And this is why I can't change it. After this conversation I had, a lady came in and we were talking about that picture and she was taking pictures. She goes, hold the camera. I get that all the time. My staff gets that all the time.
Sure.
Take pictures of families. And she said at her house, they're from Arizona, at her house in her hallway for like 7 years straight, she put the pictures up so her kids growing from like the youngest was like in a stroller to like standing in the last photo.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And every year gauges
it's
it.
Tradition
and
for
that's
them.
their Carlsbad trip. They come out here and I was like, wow. And you start hearing that, oh, we love taking pictures of this mural when we come here. I'm like, okay, because I was just talking to Snyder about this actually like last week.
Yeah.
And I said, I can't change it, man.
No.
We can maybe we'll add to it, figure out how to like add to it.
Oh, there you go.
But not change it.
Can't change it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Brian has been a guest on our podcast. He's a great asset to our community for all that he does. So that's great. Well, this has been fun, man. I'm really glad we got a chance to kind of dive into all this stuff. And we appreciate all that you guys do through Senor Grubby's and all your restaurants, how much you're engaged in the community, being on our board, and just really appreciate you guys. And hope for many more successful years and any other successful adventures that you seek to go into. I know we've talked about some, which we won't mention on air, but I know you always got your eyes open for opportunity. Yeah, there's more. There's things there's things happening right now. I was hoping to be able to announce our second poke location, but it fell through. Kind of bummed on that. It was going to be in the village too. It was going to be in the village, man. A smaller little spot just to sling out some fresh fish. But it fell through. But there's more coming. I mean, if everyone wants to follow us, I'd appreciate it. It's at Senor Grubby's and at Grubbies_Poke. I'd appreciate you guys' follows. Absolutely. And your website is probably it's eatgrubbies.com. Eatgrubbies.com. That's our eatgrubbies.com and then grubbiespoke.com. Got it. Well, this has been delightful. Thank you so much for taking the time, Justin, and I really appreciate it. Yeah, thanks you guys for having me. It was a blessing. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us on our Carlsbad People, Purpose, and Impact podcast today. If you enjoyed it, please hit the follow button on wherever you get your audio. And please tell a friend. We would love to hear your feedback, which you can share at carlsbadpodcast.com. You can leave us a review, ask a question, or leave an audio comment, which we can play on the show in the future. And that's all we have for today. Can't wait to see you next time on Carlsbad People, Purpose, and Impact. And remember, share some kindness today. It's free, creates goodwill, and makes you feel great.